Listen, this game fascinates me, and I think this game is going to come down to who converts and how many times on fourth down. This is going to be the fourth down game of all time. I don't know if there is a bet out there. Take the over on fourth downs. Marco D'Angelo, Detroit is minus 9.5. We have an absolutely gigantic total in front of us. It's indoors. There's talent all over this field and two aggressive coaches. How do you attack a game like this?
Well, to your statement there, Prez, if you really think there's going to be a lot of fourth downs, that would mean you would also think that there's not going to be a lot of punts. So there are props up on the total number of punts. You could look at taking an under on a prop bet there. But I'm looking at this one, and I agree with you. I think there's not going to be a lot of punts. I think there's going to be a lot of scoring. Now, if you look at the game last week between Washington and Tampa, that was just the opposite. You thought on paper that should have been a high-scoring game, but it ended up not being that. It was a 23-20 game. And the reason for that was Washington ran 69 plays in that game. Now, we know that teams that go up tempo, and have a lot of offense, that they will run a lot of plays. But what was uncharacteristic about the way Washington ran those plays is they did it on extended drives. They had a 17-play drive in that game that just about chewed up 2/3 of a quarter. And then Tampa Bay only had 44 offensive plays in that game. They didn't have many possessions to start with, and then they gave one of their possessions away right away with a fumbled snap by Baker Mayfield. That game was basically always a one-possession game. And this is where people, when they look at totals and that, you got to look if there's going to be separation in the game. Because anytime that you have just a one-possession game, the coaches may not take those gambles, those 4th and 2s, 4th and 3s. They may elect to punt and play the field position battle. But if they're down a touchdown or more, then that changes their thought process and you do gamble more. And I think that's what you're going to see in this game. Face it, last 5 games, Detroit scored 31 or more points in every game. That is what we're going to expect in this game as well. And I think Washington is going to score their share of points. Yes, the Detroit defense played their best game of the year, the final game of the season. But that was against a division foe, Prez, that they know well, and a quarterback that stands like a statue in the pocket. No Sam Darnold this week. They're going to have to contain Daniels, for the running on broken plays, designed runs, and then the passing game and a running game. I think Washington has too many different offensive weapons for Detroit to shut them down, and I just do not see the Washington defense shutting Detroit down. It looks a little bit square, Perez, but there's only one way I can look at this game, and that is the over 55.5.
Marco D'Angelo joining us, everyone. Marco, you made a really great comment about the sort of length of drives from Washington. I'm starting to see a similar thing with Detroit, Marco, and I know this is a team that's bordering on unstoppable defensive from an offensive perspective, but their drives are now longer. They are also eating clock more than they used to eat clock. And it feels to me like they have 10.5-yard plays. You know, it's like, stop, get the first down, stop. That, and they are the queen or kings of 2nd and 1. So I just want to throw that out there because this Detroit offense has changed as the year has progressed, and they are also putting together longer drives. With that said, Marco, both teams can break out fast, and a lot of those short drives and those dinks and dunks, the wheel routes, the inside slants, etc., a lot of that does lead to a 50-yard bomb. So I'm with you on the over here, but I'm just worried we're going to see one 9-minute drive and that over is in trouble.
The only difference, President, and it's a good point that they are doing longer drives now, but it's how the drive ends. If you have the long drive and it ends in a field goal, that's a killer for the total. If it ends in a touchdown, which happens more often than not with Detroit, it's a double bonus because, yes, you get the touchdown. Yes, they use some clock. But now, because it was a touchdown, it forces the other team to have to answer. And that's where you start to press the issue. And we still have a rookie quarterback. And if he falls behind by 10 or 14 points, and then they have to abandon one of the elements of their game, the running game, and they have to throw on more downs, that's when you can get some turnovers and you can get some short fields the other way. We're repeating last week's promotion. We had a great response to it. We're going to run it again this week. And those of you that took advantage of that 7-day package for $77 using the coupon code MD77. That's MD77, and get 7 days for $77. You were treated to another 5% play. Our 5% play last week was the Houston Texans. They came home in grand fashion for us. And right now, looks like we are going to have another 5% play this weekend. So head on over to Wager Talk and jump on board for that one. Those 5% plays, by the way, Prez, 19-6 since last February.